I'm trying to get better conversations. I'm trying to have more meaningful engagements with people. We talked about the tech stack and
Yep.
all the tools we might need, and here's some ideas of how to like get conversations started. But at the end of the day, we need to have meaningful connections, meaningful conversations. So I think we share a lot of commonalities there. But what does a meaningful conversation or a connection look like to you in your world today?
Um, it means that you're being thoughtful and you're being mindful of the other person that you're trying to communicate with. Um, that's the basis of it for me. It's just being mindful and being able to connect also on a human level. Because a lot of what I see people trying to do, utilizing LinkedIn messaging or Sales Navigator in mails, is they just pitch and they don't have a conversation before they get to, you know, solving a problem or a perceived problem. And there's a lot of assumptions. And that's like, if you don't have as many assumptions, if you don't come in hot and pitching, that and you rather think about how can I connect with you, Ryan, as an example, as a human being, what's something that I can relate to. So that's where it would start for me. And if I was a seller right now and I was trying to get to you, or let's say Cognism, I would look at you as an example. I was trying to sell to you. I would be like, okay, what is Ryan into that I can actually relate to? And one of the things I noticed was during Halloween, I think your son was dressed as the Grinch,
Yeah.
and your daughter as, what's her name?
Well,
The girl in the film.
my daughter pronounces it as Cindy Woo Woo, but
I love it.
yeah, Lou Who, Cindy Lou Who. Yeah, that's right. Look
Yes.
look at you doing some research.
Of course. But that's the other point to having meaningful conversations. You do need to be invested. You also need to be like emotionally invested to a certain degree in this individual that you're trying to connect with and bring up something that's relevant. So for me, it would have been like, hey, like I noticed your kids were, the Grinch for Halloween. I actually love the Grinch, which is absolutely true. I have an entire outfit, Grinch outfit, like pajamas, and I just bought new slippers. So I would have probably sent you a video with the entire outfit and just be like, I love the Grinch. Like, let's chat, and bring your son to the meeting. Like, I don't know, just humanize it a little bit, be like how you would connect with a friend. Because what people miss, it's like all of a sudden we step into this role of being professionals, and it's almost like we have to remove our personalities and remove parts of ourselves that make us who we are, which isn't the case. We shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, especially on the social side of things. There's this uh, blending of what used to be very corporate and uptight and almost like an extension of email communication.
Yep.
That's what you still see versus what should be a little bit more social. I mean, it's a social network, your social networking, and
Yep.
there is both that very personal and professional side of things. And um, if you're using your brain and having situational awareness, the type of tactics you're talking about right now makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like that can be forced too, where it's almost like
Hmm.
people are going too far, and it's like they're going so far to stretch something around
Right.
relating it back. What I liked about what you just said here, though, is you're just using it to just start the conversation. You're,
Exactly.
you're not trying to then blend that into the pitch, which was where everything's at, right? It's almost like
Yep.
the research goes into how can I pitch you, and I'm trying to personalize to a pitch versus this slight difference that I heard with you, which is I'm just trying to start a meaningful conversation. I'm trying to make a
Hmm.
connection. Then we'll see if there's maybe some business to be had after the fact. That's massive. Why do you think that so many reps are having a hard time bridging that gap? You know, you use a tactic like that, and I know that a lot of reps would say, oh, okay, so now I'm going to go and do these personal things, but they're
Yep.
trying to relate it back into a song to pitch you something or
Yeah.
a gift to pitch you something versus like
Yeah.
a song because it might have made you laugh and then we started a conversation.
Right.
The pitch can go later. What are your thoughts around that? Because I think we're on the same wavelength here. It's really
Yeah.
interesting.
the the issue is that most people are not playing the long game. They're just looking at, this is what needs to be done right now. I need to get another meeting, I need to get another conversation, I need to get whatever that the pressure is. And a lot of people are under pressure. And if you're in the boat of this doesn't come naturally to you, or uh, you're not sure which direction to take it, and all you have is a goal in mind, which might be, I need X amount of meetings this week. And the quickest way to get there is to pitch a lot of people so I can get at least somewhere with it. But what you miss is really the opportunity to play the long game and have that come full circle, whether that is in a week or 2 months, who knows? But the goal should not be, I just need to book the meeting. The goal should really be, let me have a meaningful conversation. So that way we can have another meaningful conversation and another one after that, and continue on that. And then bring in more people to the conversations along the way. I think that's the missing opportunity, is just the stress, the anxiety, the pressure around KPIs and performance.
Yeah, it's huge. I think that one of the biggest things that gets missed in outbound in general, is that the intention of an outbound connection, whether it's a call, a connect, an email, whatever it might be,
Hmm.
most people are trying to drive that to a meeting. That's the KPI. Everyone's around, like meeting first. But the reality is there's this funnel that we have to go through. If I mean, I like to visualize a funnel, but a relationship funnel, connection funnel, right? And the first thing is awareness. Like we don't know each other yet at all. Like, let's
Exactly.
become aware of each other. And then we can start to gather some information around, uh is there a fit? If this is a business thing, is there a fit now? If not now, and later. That's the long game versus the short game as well. So connection, awareness first, gather information, then conversation, like conversion to whatever that actual first step might be in your funnel. Oh, this actually might be relevant. What do we want to do next? Let's take this from a casual introduction conversation to a more sales driven conversation, or maybe it's I can help you in some other area. Let me, whatever it might be, long game, short game. But those first two pieces are always crammed into each channel, right? I love your example right now with the Grinch thing too. Like, hey, we would have connected, we'd have become buddies. Whether I'm a fit for what you do right now, it doesn't really matter at this point. We're professionals that are in the sales enablement, sales acceleration, sales improvement space. Okay, so that's a connection we probably want to have, whether we're ever going to work together in the far. So that's the long game versus short game. But I see it also on the phone. I don't know how much calling your team's doing too, but so much of it is the exact same version of the pitch slap, right? I call, maybe I have a funny opener or something, and then I pitch slap you. Versus trying to establish a true two-way dialogue and then putting you at the heart of the conversation. Do you guys do a lot of cold calling on the team right now? Curious to see if that's something you're seeing your team struggle with as well.
We do have individuals, reps, who are cold calling quite a lot. And then, we have others who are more comfortable in other channels. And I think this is normal. I think this is what to expect, because not everyone has maybe the personality, or they don't feel comfortable, even though they might have given it a shot, to do a call or do video. They might just say, this isn't for me. Generally, I am not into this because I hate being on camera. And it's like, okay, well, then maybe voice messages is your thing. And that's what people tend to forget, like that it's only one or the other. You can either excel on the phone, or you can excel on emails, and that's it. But it's like, you do have so many other channels that you can also utilize and be good at. But yeah, we do have some king and queen cold callers for sure.
I just see this, like, it just translates so well across all these channels of, all right, well, let's start with this meaningful engagement first and build into, um, from awareness to information, and then maybe some sort of conversion. But we gotta get there first together along this journey, and everyone is going to receive any channel of communication differently. And so that
Yeah.
awareness is key, both on not only, hey, are you aware of me, but being aware of the situation, right? How are they
Yeah.
reacting? What's happening? What's their tonality and approach, etc.
But
Um,
also, if you have to think about it from the point of view of, okay, what am I trying to achieve and establish, and how does the other person on the other end receive that?
right,
Because maybe you, Ryan, is someone who hates email, but you love phone conversations or Zoom conversations. Then that's how we should connect moving forward. Or maybe you're like, no, text me, like, or send me a video. Like, that's how I want to communicate. Okay, great. But the challenge is that, or the problem is that people aren't asking the question. It's not like they're having the conversations. Some do this really well, but just simply asking like, "Hey, what's your preferred method of communicating?
right,
What do you like?" Because
yeah,
so many people online are not asking me that relevant question, and it's frustrating because they keep hitting me up in my LinkedIn messages, and I suck at responding. It's just I do, and I when I was selling, like emails was never my go-to. That was something I were falling back on, or I utilized emails for follow-ups with my prospects. That's or like videos I would embed it and give some context. But that was never my go-to. It was always the phone because I knew that I have a better chance to connect with someone if I can share my thoughts out loud, if we can have a conversation, if you can hear what I sound like. And I can get so much more information as well from that conversation than I could ever get from an email. But that's my preference. And I don't think it's fair in my position in enablement to say, everyone go do this because it worked really well for me. Because it may not work for other people as it did for me.
yeah. I mean, you got to let the data drive the outcomes for a rep. Give them the tools, let them run after it, and see. At the end of the day, how many meaningful conversations can they be having every day? Meaningful connections, meaningful conversations. To me, anyway, is the metric that matters most. Um, and if somebody's able to have success in having they need to be true meaningful connections in other formats than other channels, then fantastic. That's great. Um, I know we're going back to the video again, but I think this is an interesting concept where you're like, hey, maybe you're not comfortable on camera, but what are your thoughts on what I like about video too is you can choose not to be on camera but still use video, right? So I can use a screencast, screen share, recorded screen share as a really meaningful way to communicate as well. So if I'm somebody who likes voice messages, um, but not being on camera, well, now all of a sudden you take yourself out of the camera and you got an animated voice message. Uh, so I mean, there's all different ways that you can leverage these different channels for communications. And at the end
Point.
of the day, it's
You have to
about
be creative. You have to be creative. And this is going back to beginning of our conversation, like what helped me with the transition from being a sales rep into enablement is also the ability to be creative, to be able to think outside of the box. Like as an example, like when I was a rep at one point, I didn't have any tool to record my calls so I could coach and help myself, or so that my manager could coach me and help me. I didn't have that tool to use at my disposal. So I was like, oh, okay, how do I get around this then? Because I've just started in sales. Obviously, I need to improve. I don't know how, but I have to record it. So I just went around it and I found a different way to record my conversations and listen back to them. You know, you have to find ways and opportunities so you can help yourself first.
yeah. It's so funny you bring that up. My very first sales role, um, I started my sales career in 2008, right? The last recession, which was a really fun time to get started, but way before this big tech boom.
Yeah.
And um, I had an old call, like those old recorders, like the voice memo recorders.
Oh.
This is even before the smartphone was really popular, right? Because iPhones were just coming to market. So there's like the little tape, you know,
Hmm.
and and I would just put my desk phone on speakerphone and I would record those. And generally, I'd be like one of the last ones in the office. I'd be making calls after hours, and then I'd bring those recordings home with me and listen back on them. And that's how I really improved. Um, and it's so funny where the tech's gone now. We have this luxury of just kind of hitting a button, or it's already baked into our systems.